When the Braves signed the Upton brothers, they hoped it would be the start of a magical combination in Atlanta. It took just 5 games into this 2013 year to see something that had never been done before in baseball. A game-tying and game-winning homer by brothers. High fly ball center field to Jesus, going back at the wall. Goodbye! That's hammered center. De Jesus going back, still going back. Let's go home! Last night was magical. The Braves hope to keep it up and sweep the Cubs on this sunny Sunday afternoon. It's a beautiful day for baseball in Atlanta, and how do you top last night today here at Turner Field? Well, a sweep would be good. The Cubs are in town. The Braves trying to sweep them back to the friendly confines here in Atlanta, GA. And hi again, friends. Along with Joe Simpson and Dale Murphy, I'm Chip Carey. What a game last night for the Atlanta Braves. Murphy, you've heard the expression crazy eights. How about the big 8th inning for Atlanta yesterday?
Yeah, indeed, Chip. Our bullpen was amazing. They're getting out of a bases loaded jam, no out bases loaded jam. Here's Anthony Barbaro. And Dan Uggla makes a great play here. Quick release, getting the out at home to start that inning. And then Corey Guerin, gets one of the best hitters in the game, Starlin Castro, to fly out to short center field. And this pitch right here by Corey Guerin to Anthony Rizzo is absolutely unhittable.
Not only was there some clutch pitching in the 8th inning, some clutch hitting, too, that set it all up for the heroics in the 9th. Big hits from Freeman, Uggla, and Ramiro Pena, who had a big 2-run single, all contributed mightily.
So if the Braves are going to sweep the Cubs, they've got to do it behind Tim Hudson. He makes his second start. Jeff Samardzija, the Cubs ace. He's a strikeout machine. Let's see what happens. More heroics, perhaps, here in Atlanta as the Braves and Cubs battle in Game 3 of the series. We're ready to go in Atlanta. Sunny Sunday afternoon here at Turner Field. Here's the Cubs starting lineup is presented by Toyota. Starlin Castro, Anthony Rizzo, a terrific dynamic duo in the top third of their order. And you got to keep an eye on Alfonso Soriano, who has always swung the bat well in this ballpark.
Couldn't ask for a better day, could we? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Sorry, I had a little technical problem over here just a second ago. You were saying?
A beautiful day for baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
73 degrees, I believe, was the official temperature announcement. And we will take that for sure as De Jesus looks at a fastball high from Tim Hudson, who looks to break into the win column this afternoon.
Went 4 1/3 innings, as you see last year's numbers. 4 1/3 against the Phillies. 3 runs. One came on a homer to Utley, and really up into the start of the 5th inning. He pitched real well other than the homer. But after 1 out in the 5th, 4 straight batters reached. 3 on hits, 1 on a walk. And that ultimately got him out of the game.
Big crowd continues to file in Atlanta. 38,000 here last night. As Tim pumps over a quick strike to make it a 3-1 count. We had 33,000 for the series opener. And again, a huge sports weekend here in Atlanta. This series has been exceptionally well attended and a lot of excitement for the paying customers. Fly ball to right. Jason Hayward on the run. Still going back. Still going back. That one's off the middle of the fence. A leadoff double for De Jesus. And that's exactly the way the game started for the Cubs last night, at least as far as the result.
Yeah, only this one almost went out of the ballpark right in front of the Braves bullpen. See, to check out the location. Like a sinker that didn't sink.
Yeah, and the ball is obviously well hit, but this being the first day game, I think we're going to see that a little bit. Ball's got to be carrying a little bit better today than it has, even though there's been plenty of home runs.
Yeah.
Today, still you anticipate a little bit better carry action on the ball.
Starlin Castro's the Cubs shortstop. And a good breaking ball has him behind in the count. Castro 1 for 9 in the series, hitting .190 for the season.
Four keys to pitching success today for Tim Hudson, and it applies to that first hit by De Jesus. Elevation. He did get some pitches up in the first game against the Phillies, and that hurt him. And he's got 5 lefties in the lineup today, so that back foot breaking ball that he struggled with a little bit in spring training would be a good weapon for him today if he can command it and throw it anywhere, like Corey Guerin threw that pitch to Rizzo last night. Wow.
One of the most amazing pitches I've ever seen. I mean, I'm trying to come up with a name. First thing I thought was boomerang. I mean, that thing, I think it was caught behind Rizzo. It was, again, getting back to that top of the 8th inning, great pitching by the guys in the bullpen last night. And that pitch to Anthony Rizzo, wow. The ultimate back foot.
Yeah.
Breaking ball.
2 quick strikes to Starlin Castro. De Jesus led off with a double and a fly ball to center. B.J. Upton's on the run, glides back to the warning track, makes the catch. De Jesus will tag, and he will advance. Productive out for Castro, and that ball kept carrying to the gap.
And that pitch was up. Early in the game against the Phillies, Tim had some ground ball pitches working. In fact, had a double play turn behind him in the 2nd inning. But you can see that one belt high into a dangerous hitter. Again, fortunate that one was only a fly ball out.
So Anthony Rizzo becomes a key man in the inning for Chicago. Runner at third, 1 out. Rizzo with a couple of home runs on the season. And looking for his 5th RBI, and Wayne Berry with cat-like reflexes stays out of trouble on that foul ball in the first base camera well.
Tim made one start against the Cubs last year and was victimized by 0 run support. 7 innings, 5 hits. He only gave up 1 run. Paul Maholm beat him.
Ground ball toward first. The Braves will concede the run. Chris Johnson takes care of Rizzo, and De Jesus scores to make it 1-0 Chicago. Again, if you missed the pregame, you missed a big story today. Freddie Freeman was placed on the disabled list with an oblique problem. That means Chris Johnson's going to get an extended run at first base for the Braves. Atlanta called Blake DeWitt up from AAA Gwinnett to take Freddie's roster spot. And the ripple effect of that is that Juan Francisco now will get the bulk of the playing time at third base for a while. Base is empty for Soriano. 1-0 Chicago. And Hudson facing a longtime nemesis. Well, the average isn't particularly high. Soriano's hit 3 home runs against Tim in his career. One and two.
Gerald Laird caught Tim Hudson in Game 1 on Monday, so this is the first regular season action for Gaddis to catch him, but they did see each other in spring training.
Foul past third, and we'll do it again at 2-2.
And that chemistry is critical. I don't think you could, you can't emphasize that enough. A lot of people think, well, it's just, you put someone back there and you call a pitch, but you like to get to work together, so you don't have to think too much out there as a pitcher.
There's a good pitch from Tim. Got it down, and Soriano missed it. The Cubs, though, score the game's first run on a ground ball out by Anthony Rizzo. Jeff Samardzija to the hill for Chicago. Freddie Gonzalez lines him up. His Toyota starting 9 has B.J. Upton again in the leadoff spot. Justin Upton's hitting third. Evan Gaddis is the cleanup man today, with Francisco, Johnson, Pena, and Hudson the bottom of the batting card. And a hot shot into the shift, and Olade at second. That was Alberto Gonzalez, who played that off to the side, playing on the third base side of the second base bag.
Can you blame him?
No. That was a seed.
That was a seed. That's 3 straight hits for BJ now. The swinging bunt hit last night, the homer, and now this rocket off a 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Samardzija.
And his base hit. And here's Jason Hayward looking for his first hit of the series. And he takes slow and outside.
Samardzija gave the Braves nothing last year. 2 starts, 7 innings each start, 1 run each start. And in the most recent one on July 2nd here at Turner Field, he walked 1 and struck out 11. Throws hard. Mid-90s or better. His 4 keys to success. He's just putting constant pressure on you, attacking you all the time. He misses a lot of bats with a good split finger pitch that complements his fastball. He is really coming into his own at age 28.
A great athlete was Samardzija. You know his story. Was a wide receiver at Notre Dame. Cubs drafted him, gave him a major league contract when they signed him in the 2006 draft. And in his early days in the big leagues was a relief pitcher. Last year was his first full year in the big leagues as a starter. And from those, I guess you could say, humble beginnings, he's emerged as, if not the ace, certainly choice 1A with Matt Garza.
But he's cut down on his walks. His command has become so good, so much better than it was, that he had to be in the bullpen for short stints, hoping that they could get him through an inning as a setup man or the like. But he's really evolved with his command and fastball, slider, split. He's got 3 pitches to work from.
He struck out 9 in 8 innings and walked 1, Joe, in his last start in Pittsburgh. So that combination again of, you know, mid-90s with a split is a tough way to go.
BJ is running, swinging a miss by Hayward. The throw by Navarro is into right center field, and BJ's at third base with 1 out.
Well, good to see that aggressiveness out of the Braves. As much as we talk about the power in the lineup, the speed is just not something everybody talks about. I mean, but BJ here being aggressive, taking the extra base on the overthrow. Jason likes to run. Justin likes to run.
Tough pitch for Navarro to throw on down and in, and then the left-handed batter sitting there, but that throw was way off the mark. Chance for the Braves to tie it up with just a ground ball.
Swing and a miss by Justin Upton, who sent this crowd home delirious last night with his walk-off home run. Five home runs in the first 5 games as an Atlanta Brave for Justin Upton.
I had the good fortune many years ago to be calling the game in Anaheim when a father and son went back-to-back. The Griffeys went back-to-back in home runs. That was amazing. I don't think that will ever happen again. But last night, with the brothers doing what they did with the tying and winning home runs, mighty special too.
Now, brothers hitting home runs in the same game has happened relatively frequently. It's happened 25 times. 5 times in baseball history, brothers have hit a home run in the same inning in a major league game. And here you see it on our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot. But the first note is the historic note. First brothers to hit homers that tie the game and win the game in the same inning. Against Carlos Marmol last night. And
Now 2-2 to Justin.
It was also the first time a player hit a walk-off homer in a game in which his brother had homered earlier, since Hank and Tommy Aaron did it for the Milwaukee Braves against the Cardinals in 1962.
Wow, that's very cool. Two balls, two strikes. Infield back for the Cubs. And Upton fouls that one off the protective netting, and it caught Evan Gattis too.
That hit Evan's bat that was sitting on his shoulder. Well, as you were telling me before the game, Chip, I didn't know this, but Justin's got him right where he wants him with 2 strikes, right?
Every home run has been with 2 strikes. Not 0-2, but he's had a 2-strike count. He's got one here in the first inning.
And really the best hitters count has been 2-2.
Samardzija at 97 miles an hour won that matchup. Back-to-back strikeouts. Now Upton's at third with 2 outs for Evan Gattis.
Not that you'd call a 2-2 count a hitter's count, but that was, the other ones were 1-2, 0-2.
Right.
And
it's about the only way to keep that guy at third base is to take care of business yourself, and Samardzija did that, pumping it up to 97.
Well, speaking of the brothers hitting that those home runs in the ninth, that old baseball cliche, come to the ballpark, you may see something you've never seen before. You may see something that's never happened in the history of the game. That was so much fun.
Breaking ball had Gattis off stride. Strike 1 to the Braves catcher. 4 for 8 so far with a home run.
Big breaking ball, then that looked like a split finger. And we've seen highlights of those 2 starts against the Braves from last year. A lot of the strikeouts we noticed were on the split or off speed stuff, breaking ball.
Gattis in the box. Dan Uggla on deck. B.J. Upton at third after a single, stolen base, and throwing error by the catcher. Hayward and Upton have struck out. And Gattis behind in the count. Fought that off.
As you said earlier, Dale, when you throw this hard, the hitter, especially behind in the count, you've got to be ready to hit the fastball. You've got to be looking for the fastball. And that's why his breaking stuff then becomes so tough.
And breaking balls get Gattis as Samardzija strikes out the side with B.J. Upton at third base. Very impressive start for Samardzija. He leads by a run after 1. Braves baseball is brought to you in part by AT&T Uverse, by Delta Airlines, by Ford, and by Sherwin-Williams. Beautiful crowd here in Atlanta, where the Cubs lead the Braves 1-0. Atlanta trying to sweep away Chicago in a series for the first time since 2006. Last time they swept a series against the Cubs here in Atlanta was back in 2005. Nate Schierholtz goes to work for Chicago in the second and jumps on the first pitch. And a bullet hitting the seats. Ricochets out for strike one. Good start for Schierholtz at the plate. Two of his hits on the season came last night, including a first inning RBI hit. Gaddis never got a glove on that pitch. 2-1.
Tim's bread and butter is that sinker and his split. But so far he's had a hard time getting the ball down.
He went around. Gaddis will play the ricochet and throw out Schierholtz for the first out.
There's one of those good back foot breaking balls that worked beautifully.
You're right, Joe. Look at this replay. It just, he misses it by a good foot. You know, it's interesting. Evan missed that one, and then it almost looked like he got crossed up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if Gaddis has a few more issues with picking up Huddy's pitches. It just looked a little bit rough there. That's a tough pitch to stop there, but it'll be interesting to watch.
And I need to correct something. I was incorrect earlier when I said they'd worked together in spring training. Actually, they didn't. That the only time Evans really caught Tim was between innings, warming him up.
Yeah.
I thought he was behind the plate on one game we had on television in spring training, but that was not the case.
Keep in mind too, I believe this is the first day game that Gaddis has caught. Don't know if the
true. Good point.
Work behind the plate gives him a different perspective catching Hudson. As Deoner Navarro's behind 1-2.
Good change up there.
Well, that chemistry between a pitcher and a catcher is interesting. I think, you know, people may wonder why is it so critical. Gaddis got out really well on that one. That same pitch, low and way inside, looked like he was anticipating it to be there a little bit more than that first one that he missed on that strike three.
Navarro looked like he was campaigning for a hit by pitch. He's kind of backing up out of the box, but Alfonso Marquez said no.
Back to the mound. Tim gets that and takes care of the catcher with ease. And he's retired the last 5 Cubs batters. That's part of our Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. How has Tim fared against this Cubs lineup?
I'd say terrific. Gave up the double in the first inning. They played some ABC baseball to get DeJesus around to take the lead. Career record of 2-1, a 3.44 ERA against Chicago. 6 starts.
2 quick strikes to Luis Valbuena. Didn't like that second call from Alfonso Marquez. And he swings at this one and hits it in the air to center. B.J. Upton, plenty of room. And Hudson a 1-2-3 second inning. Dan Uggla ready to go to work for Atlanta. Braves down an early run. The pride of Notre Dame, and for more on that, let's check in with our pride, Tom Hart.
Yeah, thanks, Chip. No surprise, Samardzija is throwing well against the Braves again today. Maybe the surprise that he's doing it on the diamond. You see, this may be his second best sport. He was a tremendous wide receiver at Notre Dame, and it kind of came out of nowhere, and Wrigley Field plays a role in it. He was a reserve wide receiver his first 2 years, but when Charlie Weiss had to drive to Chicago to sing in the 7th inning stretch, it was the baseball coach who turned him on to it. Then head coach Paul Mainieri told Weiss, I've got this great pitcher, you should use him more as a wide receiver. He wouldn't be the first Golden Domer to do well in the diamond, guys. Hall of Famer Carl Yastrzemski went to Notre Dame on a basketball scholarship.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Old Tom, he just pulls stuff right out of his
Golden Dome.
You guys didn't know
yes.
that?
I was thinking right out of his pocket square.
You guys didn't know that about Yaz?
No.
You guys got to consult me in more of those trivia things.
I guess.
We need all the help we can get.
Thank goodness you're here today.
Yes. Those shoulders ready. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Dan Uggla. Dan's average at 200. 3 hits in his first 15 at bats. You know, we've talked a lot about Samardzija and his power, and yes, he's got a blazing fastball. He's able to maintain his velocity as well over the course of the game. There's very little drop off first inning to 7th inning for this guy.
Love his arm action.
And he gets a lot of awkward swings and gets Uggla. He's struck out the last 4 Braves hitters. And Samardzija's power is our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard today.
Well, these are the guys, as Chip was saying, that are able to maintain their velocity and their average throughout their starts. Samardzija 3rd behind Strasburg and Price. Tampa Bay with 2 guys on that list. But I love the way Samardzija finishes pitches. His arm gets out there, doesn't short arm anything, but when it gets out there, he really finishes it with his hand and wrist. 97 on that one.
Wow, when he hit 97 in the first inning too, didn't he?
Yep.
Well, you're right, Joey. Great arm action, but I agree with you. Just that finish, that wrist, that extension gives that couple extra miles per hour.
And guys, he's 6'5" with that finish. We've heard broadcasters say it must look like he's standing 3 feet away when the ball is coming out of his hand. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
And a nice turn there with his hips too. But right, almost got it, but we'll show you that. The way he finishes once he goes to the plate, his arm gets out there, and then there's a real snap of the wrist.
I don't think there's any question, Chip, though visually the taller the pitcher, a little more intimidating.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
You can cut it loose.
Another strikeout. That's 5 in the game and 5 in a row.
Pretty sure that was the splitter, and that's why, you know, we keep talking about this 97 miles an hour with a split. Nothing you can do.
You have to be defensive at the plate behind in the count and think fastball, and you got to get ready for 95 to 97, and then when the split comes, you're already committed. Tough to slow down.
Well, split fingers and changeups are tough pitches to pick up because nothing changes in the arm angle or the wrist angle.
I think he does you a favor if he throws you a first pitch breaking ball. He got Evan Gattis to swing at the first pitch breaking ball when Evan was set up looking for the heater. But when he's throwing this hard and can get ahead of you in the count immediately, then his off speed stuff becomes that much better.
2 balls, no strikes to Chris Johnson, the Braves' first baseman today. Chris with 7 at bats on the year, a couple of hits. He's going to get a lot of playing time for at least the next 2 weeks, with Freddie Freeman going to the disabled list today.
And this right here is Samardzij's first hitter where he's gone to 3 balls. And there's just a nice, easy get me over fastball at 95.
Yeah, go get him, guys.
Well, that'll make you think twice about swinging 3-0 next at bat.
Now it's a full count. Six in a row for Jeff Samardzija. He fell behind 3-0 and threw a 95, a 96, and another 96-mile-an-hour fastball to send this game to the 3rd. Got an early run off Brave starter Tim Hudson, and one's been more than enough for Jeff Samardzija so far. He's given up 1 hit and has struck out 6 consecutive Braves hitters.
It looked like a pretty good trifecta there on that 25th anniversary sign. Braves game, Final 4 in the Masters. It's a pretty good trip.
Stay hot. This is Alberto Gonzalez, Tim misses up at him to him. 2 balls, no strikes.
Tim seems to be in a hurry. Does he seem like he's working faster than normal?
And he missed badly with 4 straight pitches.
And I don't know if that's doing something to his mechanics that's causing him to rush or not.
Well, it's a good observation, Joe. There's something different. I mean, he doesn't look all that comfortable, I guess is the best way I could think of it. I don't think he's shaking off Gaddis too much that I've noticed. I think they're working together so far pretty good.
So Samardzija will try to bunt. And that's fouled off Gaddis. Strike 1. Might recall in spring training, Tim was not real happy with the way he was throwing the ball around the middle of March. Had some mechanical issues that he was trying to figure out. The way it was described in the newspapers was that his backside was collapsing and he was missing up and in, much like he did to Alberto Gonzalez. He said physically he felt fine.
I don't know, just that sequence of pitches to Gonzalez. He was getting the ball back from Gaddis and almost simultaneously going into his windup, and it just seemed like maybe it was causing him to rush.
One ball, 1 strike to Jeff Samardzija. Runner goes and Jeff pops it on a play foul. 1-2. Cubs trying to shake up their offense. They have not scored many runs in their first 5 games. In fact, they've scored a total of 12. And came into today's game batting 180 as a team.
Well, I like to see that every once in a while. Pitcher with the bunt in order, put on a hit and run. Good try.
Now it's Samardzija's turn to face a breaking ball, and he missed it badly.
I like it too, Dale, except not in that count. If you do it when it counts 1-0, or even the first pitch of a bunt situation, and you foul it off, at least you've still got another strike to bunt if you want.
Yeah.
If it goes to 1-2, it messes you up.
Good point, but I still don't understand why they didn't put the bunt back on, even though he's got 2 strikes. I mean,
and that's why Francisco was still playing in.
Sure. You're right. It could probably better count. You like to see it once in a while, but better count.
Juan still in on the grass with David DeJesus up there. He doubled off the fence in front of the Braves bullpen to start the game for the Cubs. And now he shoots this ball to left. Quickly 2 outs. Murph, your favorite promo. The clubhouse store at CNN Center has a large selection of Braves player name and number t-shirts. You can find your favorite Braves player tee by visiting the Braves clubhouse store at CNN Center or call 404-523-5854 for more information.
Braves clubhouse store is the best in the league. Both leagues in baseball.
Universe.
That's really good. Also like that game use store they got here too. It's good stuff.
Here's Castro with Gonzalez at first, and now 2 outs. Tim got that pitch down, didn't he? Strike 1 to Castro.
Looked like a good cutter. Not sure. Might have had a little more break than a cutter. Might have been a slider, but a good pitch, good location.
Looked like he tried it again. At least looks like he's missing low a little bit better now.
Better to miss there than up.
Yep.
Francisco at third will flip to second. Tim Hudson got the ball on the ground, pitched around a leadoff walk to Alberto Gonzalez. He's due second when the Braves come up against Samardzija here in the third. Showed off against the Cubs in the ninth inning last night. Let's not forget Ramiro Pena in the eighth.
Boy, went up there on that first pitch after Fujikawa had walked Gerald Laird, and with the bases loaded, took advantage of a situation where the pitcher was trying to get ahead with the bases loaded, and Ramiro was all over it.
And Pena had some rough at bats early in the game. Swung at some bad pitches on some strikeouts. Well, you got to keep getting in there, keep getting that confidence from somewhere.
That'll end this streak of strikeouts by Samardzija. But he's retired 7 in a row after the B.J. Upton game opening base hit. One out for Tim Hudson. Tim 0 for 2 on the season.
Just a tad tardy. Ball comes out of his hand nice and easy, doesn't it?
Well, that's what's been impressive to me so far, is it seems pretty effortless.
That's over the outside corner, and that's 7 strikeouts for Samardzija, and we're not quite a third of the way through this game.
First call, third.
So 2 outs, base is empty, and And it's time for our AT&T Uverse trivia question today. Soriano's .312 career average against the Braves is 8th among active players. Who has the highest career batting average against the Braves?
Well, like last night, we can narrow that down to about 500 players.
Well, if Tom Glavine were here, we would obviously say Mike Redmond, who's the manager of the Marlins. We'll see him tomorrow. So, of course, it's active players, not active managers. Just a chance to make sure that Tommy's watching the game today. We know he is. One ball, one strike to B.J. Upton.
I think if things continue at the rate we're going on the trivia, we're going to need multiple choice. True or false?
Hey, I petitioned for name a Cub today. That was promptly shot down. 3 balls and a strike. And Upton's aboard for the second time. Samardzija not happy with that.
Now, isn't that interesting? He laces the first pitch of the ball game for a base hit on his Sunday best fastball at 96. And then he's all of a sudden real careful with this guy. The next time around throws him a 3-1 breaking ball.
Well, after the Braves hit in the first inning, while Upton was headed to the Braves dugout and Samardzija was headed to the third base side, they were talking, and I'm guessing maybe he said, "You're not going to get another fastball."
Might have walked him as a result.
Yeah, but that's clearly a case where he's thinking too much. If you throw a 95-mile-an-hour plus fastball up to 97, you can miss a little bit with it and get away with it. I thought Fujikawa last night, Gerald Laird's hitting. He's throwing 94, 94, 94, goes to 3-2 and throws him a slider a foot outside. Keeps that inning going. Sometimes when a pitcher needs to say, okay, timeout. You want to do what here to B.J. Upton? He stole a base early in the game.
What did Crash Davis say to Nuke LaLoosh? Don't think, just throw. There's Bull Durham, 2 balls, no strikes. Jason Hayward, good hitters count. Let's see if he can break out. Upton's running. The pitch is strike. The throw to second is late. 2 steals for B.J. Upton, and both throws were tailing to the first base side of second base by Deanna Navarro.
And he got such a good jump. I don't know if even if those were good throws, he'd get him. But again, he walks him, which the way BJ's running, it's a double. Instead of throwing a ball 3-2 strike, you know, making him hit it, making him earn his way on. And I talk about their shift every game we play the Cubs, but I just still do not understand. I haven't seen a spray chart on Jason. I haven't seen a spray chart on B.J. Upton lately, but you're playing a extreme pull shift with a guy that's throwing 95, 96, 97. You'd think occasionally guys are going to hit ground balls the other way.
Especially with a runner in scoring position.
Exactly. Good point there, too. Get the ball on the ground to the left side and see what happens.
Foul to the left side by Jason Hayward. Guys, you talked about how Jason was tying himself up last night. Still seeing evidence of that in his first bats today.
I can't honestly appraise that just yet because this guy's throwing so hard. There are a lot of guys swinging late today on Samardzija.
Tough to evaluate here.
Yeah.
But I agree. I heard your comment last night, Joe, and that's exactly right. There's something going on some pitches last night and maybe a couple games early where he was not quite getting that extension.
And Samardzija strikes out Hayward. That is 8 strikeouts in the first 3 innings for the Cubs starter today. Middle of the order for Chicago coming up in the 4th. They're up 1-0. over Tim Hudson and the Braves today. And all year long, Braves baseball on Fox Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. No, we're not playing the Cardinals. Playing their division rivals, the Cubs.
But some Louisville Cardinals in town.
Might be a Louisville Cardinal. Wouldn't be wearing those things in August here, would you?
No. And you can tell Joe has a little bit of the Midwest in him. Yeah, I said it. It wasn't Louisville.
Louisville.
Said it right. Louisville.
Louisville.
Here's Rizzo. He knocked in the game's only run. Hudson tried to get him down and in, and he fought it off and rolled out to first. That brought home David DeJesus in the opening inning for the Cubs. 5th RBI of the year for the young Cubs first baseman. Again, Tim behind, 3 balls and a strike. Hot smash, and Johnson couldn't corral it. Some early rockets being rifled around the infield in Atlanta today.
Well, Joe, to your point, Huddy looks a little uncomfortable. The Cubs hitters are looking a little too comfortable, really. Have taken some good swings. I don't think Huddy's quite got command yet.
The Braves are already a little thin at first base with Freeman going on the DL today. They don't need to lose another one. But a pitch that was up.
Yep.
Kind of got under it, pushed it a little bit.
This would be a good spot for a ground ball with Soriano up there. And it's fouled back to the screen. You heard Tom Hart report on it during Braves Live today. Freddie Freeman not happy at being placed on the disabled list. The oblique on the right side. Something that Freddie said he'd been playing with through spring training. Braves don't want to risk him tearing that oblique, so they placed him on the DL late last night and brought up Blake DeWitt today. Means Chris Johnson's going to get the bulk of playing time at first base, but DeWitt could play some first in a pinch. Gerald Laird could play some first base in a pinch. But Francisco and Chris Johnson will be the cornermen for the most part until Freddie comes back. And a swing and a miss takes care of Soriano for the first out. And here's what General Manager Frank Wren had to say about the roster moves earlier today.
I mean, he's a young guy that wants to play, and you appreciate that. You want him to be out there, but I think sometimes we have to protect players from themselves because they want to play and they want to be a big part of the team, which he is. But this is not one of those situations where we want to lose him for the whole first half by letting him go out and tear that oblique area, and then we're dealing with a much different injury. And so right now we think we've caught it early enough that he should be back in 2 to 3 weeks.
And I like what Frank said. Sometimes you have to protect the player from himself.
There was a sternness in his voice too that made it clear that this was a well thought out decision and not just some overnight deal in case anyone thought otherwise.
Well, I think Frank Wren's absolutely right, and also that ball Freddie hit where he grabbed his side. You don't usually grab something unless it's really bothering you, but you appreciate to a certain extent a little feistiness out of Freddie. Wants to play. That's what you like to see. There's some guys that are happy to go on that DL for a while. Not Freddie Freeman.
1-1 pitch to Nate Shearholtz won't be made. Rizzo's back at first.
In case you didn't see it, watch as he's going down the first base line, grabbing at his side. Told me before the game that he had been playing with it. He heard it before the season started, but obviously that's the first time we've seen that happen last night.
Right down the middle, Shearholtz took that pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. What's interesting too is last night Freeman was in the on deck circle in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Braves had just Evan Gattis left on their bench. We Won't know, of course, because the game ended. Would Freddie Freeman have been allowed to hit in the 9th inning last night? Good pitch takes care of Scherholz. Now it's Hudson's turn to start racking up strikeouts. He's got 2 in a row and 5 in total in the game.
That's a good fastball. 91 running away from him. Good pitch.
Good movement on that. I think after it's all said and done, Freddie Freeman's going to be thankful for this. He's been battling this for a couple weeks. He's going to come back and be swinging healthy. You know, he'll look back and say it's a good move. Right now, a little frustrated, but
yeah, he wasn't doing too shabby with it, though.
Well, that's true, but can you imagine what he could do with you know, his oblique feeling really well and 100% healthy? You're right, though. He was swinging pretty good, no question. Except for that last one last night where he grabbed it. But you're right.
Strike 1 to Deanna Navarro. Tim got him to hit a tap ball back to the mound. And another slow roller. This one to Chris Johnson. He'll handle easily. And that takes care of Chicago in the 4th inning. Last night it was a family affair for the Upton brothers. Tom Hart will talk to the Upton parents when we come back to Atlanta.
Nothing. Time now for our SunTrust shining moment. What a start to the season for Justin Upton. He became last night the first player in Major League history to hit 5 home runs in his first 5 games with a new team. What a start, and the 5th was a doozy. It sent everybody home happy last night with a walk-off bomb, joining his brother, and I'm joined by his parents now. Mrs. Upton, Yvonne's with us, and Manny. Mr. Upton, what were your feelings last night throughout that 9th inning?
On cloud 9. This is the first time they ever played together in a competitive, situation, because they're 3 years apart. So it was a great feeling. Super, probably the best feeling ever. Both of them same inning. That was nice.
Your background as a 2-sport star at Norfolk State and then as a scout with both the White Sox and the Royals, what would you do to break down Justin's game in this at-bat in particular?
I would probably, he always take those big swings on, we talk about it all the time, the first two hacks, but he'll shorten up on that 3rd one and try to put it in play. So he's going to try to get us a run first early in the count, but he'll try to put it in play now.
He's been hitting well with 2 strikes. All of his home runs have come with 2 strikes. Guys, I want to point something out real quick as I talk to Mr. Upton. Mrs. Upton's dialed in on the game, okay? She said this is the spokesperson for the family. These are the 2 guys who play for the family, so we're going to talk to Manny. What makes Justin such a good 2-strike hitter?
He changes his approach. He want to put it in play. That's the part, because he's real aggressive, so he's learning now to just put that ball in play. When I was proud of him the other day when he hit that sac fly to right field to get that run in, give himself up and get that run in, which was nice.
Last question for you. Obviously, you've got a big brother and a little brother situation, and they're separated by a few years. Was this your typical big brother picking on the little guy for a long time?
Oh yeah, always been like that. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they'll rag each other later on in the season about, oh, they probably did it last night after the game, but they have a good time with it.
Thanks for spending some time with us on behalf of Braves fans. Thanks for bringing us two fantastic players.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Chip.
Thank you, Tom. What a thrill that's got to be to see their sons starring together here in Atlanta. As Evan Gattis takes a quick strike. Got to find a way to solve Samardzija. He's pitching brilliantly. 9 strikeouts through 3 1/3 innings.
Well, about the only thing I can see right now is you better get him early, because getting him late with that splitter is going to be tough in your at bat. Looks like, you know, you're going to get a pitch to hit early.
And he broke out another pitch.
Yeah, he's had everything tonight, or today, I should say.
That was an 82-mile-an-hour curveball. Just a little something else to think about.
Sharply hit toward third. Valbuena scoops it up. And Rizzo, big target at first, handles for out number 2. Get 33% off your concessions at Turner Field when you buy a 2013 Braves season ticket package. Prorated packages are now available starting at 18 games and $170 per seat. Go to Braves.com/season tickets for more details.
Good cut there.
Strike one to Dan Ugla went after that first pitch. Had him backing away from that breaking ball. 0-2.
At the same pitch, the 2-1 to Gattis, Joe?
I think so. Actually, no. I think the one to Gattis was more of a real over-the-top
traditional curve.
Yeah. That pitch in to Dan was more like a cutter.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think that other one to Gattis was about 82.
That one was 97. And Jeff Samardzija has 10 strikeouts in the game's first 4 innings. He'll bat third for Chicago, and he leads 1-0. Inning run, and Jeff Samardzija has been virtually unhittable. He's allowed only one in his first 4 innings with 10 strikeouts. What do we say about Tim Hudson in one of his starts against Chicago last year? Pop fly, long run, Justin Upton. He'll get there. 1 down. Valbuena retired.
Well, I would say this, that it might be advantageous to try something different as opposed to going up there and swinging from your heels on this guy, because he's throwing the ball by people, and when he gets ahead, he's dropping that split on him. So maybe a bunt attempt to get an inning started. Certainly having to play something close to small ball until you can get a run across.
Well, and again, to beat a dead horse, that dramatic shift they have on just about everybody, you don't have to get that good a bunt down. So I like that strategy, Joe. Try something different.
And lost in all of the Samardzija strikeouts is how much more effectively Tim Hudson's been the last couple of innings. Starting to get the ball down himself.
He is, and he's throwing his breaking ball not necessarily for strikes, but in a place where the hitters think they're strikes and have to go after it.
Still 1-2 to Alberto Gonzalez, who walked in the Cubs' 3rd inning. To short. Pena's got it. And 2 outs. Jeff Samardzija, no trouble at the plate, but an awful lot of trouble from the mound. Look at some of the reactions from the Braves hitters en route to his 10 strikeout game so far.
I'd be in the same boat, trying to figure out some way to make contact. I know this, the harder you swing at a guy like this, the better he likes it, because it just makes your swing that much longer, slows you down.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Definitely got to figure out a way to shorten up. It's kind of like trying to hit Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah.
You better not wind up.
Yeah.
As soon as you go back into the back part of your load your hips, load your hands, the ball's on top of you. Figure out how to shorten it up.
That's a good description.
Hudson strikes out Samardzija and has 6 in the game. Longest outing for Hudson so far this year. But the Cubs have a leg up on the Braves. They lead 1-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Trying to wrap up a sweep of the Chicago Cubs after our ball game, fellas. We're headed down to Miami. Our first look at the Miami Marlins and their slugging outfielder Giancarlo Stanton. Join us for Braves Live at 6:30 with Braves Live, and then of course the ball game at 7 o'clock down at Marlins Park. And here's the pitching matchups. Our Delta Airlines on deck.
Paul Maholm, fresh off his first start where he shut out the Phillies for his first 6 innings of work. Goes against Kevin Slowey, then a left-hander Wade LeBlanc against Chris Medlin on Tuesday night. Mike Minor against Alex Sanavia, another right-hander, Wednesday night. All of those Braves Live starting at 6:30.
So the pitching has been dominant today. The Braves are only down a run. And we're in the 5th inning with Juan Francisco ready to lead off. Braves have had 2 base runners today. They've been represented by 1 man. That's B.J. Upton. Everybody else has been struck out or Pena has hit a ground out.
Well, because it's only a 1-run game, I start looking at the lineup and say, okay, who's in there that I personally would consider the best fastball hitters on the team that might run into one and quickly tie it up. This is one of them. Juan. B.J., good fastball hitter. He laced the first pitch of the game for a single. You already know that. Justin, obviously, we've seen that. Gaddis, Francisco, and Dan Uggla too, provided Dan doesn't get too long with his swing.
So as dominant as Samardzija has been, he still has to walk a very precarious line because one grooved fastball could maybe cost him the game or a no decision here.
With this lineup, that's right.
But he continues to mesmerize the Braves hitters. That's 11 strikeouts. And when you see a Cub pitcher do this, it's a movie the Braves have seen before, and they've seen the man directing it.
Well, this ties his career high of 11. He had done it twice before, and one of those was against the Braves last year, July 2nd. The other time in August of last year against Houston. That split finger, boy, is it nasty right now. The pitch he struck out Uggla with in the 4th. Ridiculous.
Johnson struck out in the 2nd inning.
To me, right there, that's the pitch you got to hit right there. You got to do something with that pitch. It's only going to get tougher, but like most good pitchers, tries to get ahead. You've got to be ready.
There's a high fly ball to right center field, but De Jesus will track it down. And that's the 2nd out for Ramiro Pena.
First ball hit in the air, not counting the line drive hit by BJ to start the game.
Whenever a Cub pitcher gets off to a strikeout start like this, you automatically think of Kerry Wood and his 20 strikeout game. It was also a one-hit performance way back in 1998 against Houston. And a fly ball by Pena down the right field line. That's going to get down and into the corner. So Pena's got an extra base hit. And he stands at 2nd with 2 out.
He's throwing a bajillion miles an hour. And to Pena, he starts it with an off-speed pitch. The 8-hole hitter.
Well, he saw Pena hit Fujikawa's 94-mile-an-hour fastball last night.
I guess so, but he jumped on a changeup and hit a double. Second base runner for Atlanta. BJ's been on twice.
So let's see if Hudson can reach.
Sometimes you just need somebody to show you that there is an opening there, that there is a way to get to this guy. And with Pena's double, that might crank up the bench a little bit, make everybody say, all right, come on, we can do this.
That might be the first pitch he's overthrown today.
Held on to that one a little too long, didn't he?
Yeah, and it looks like he's walking around the mound a little bit, trying to gather himself together. I think that double by Pena kind of shook him up a little. He's probably talking to himself, asking himself the same thing you said, Joe. Why did I throw that to Pena?
And he just walked the pitcher, and the Braves are in business with B.J. Upton. 2 on, 2 out.
And that's something.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. Psychologically, you know, a lot of our guys have had a couple tough at bats, and they're walking back to the dugout thinking, I'm struggling today.
Yeah,
this guy's unhittable. And then Romero Pena hits the double, and you start thinking to yourself, wait a minute.
Yeah. He'll make a mistake.
Yeah.
And he's got the guy up there right now that he doesn't want to face in the lineup because of the way he pitched to him already today.
That's right.
And B.J. Upton has feasted since moving into the leadoff spot with the injury to Andrelton Simmons.
Well, if you just joined us, he had a rocket up the middle for a base hit to lead off the game. And his next time up, Samardzija really pitched him carefully and walked him.
1 ball, no strikes. Laid swing and a laser hit into the seats above the Braves dugout. And as hard as this guy throws, the Cubs, as you said, Murph, are still playing the shift. A late swing might mean a gapper to right center with that big hole on the right side for Upton. But now he's got to protect the plate with a 1-2 count.
Box tracks provided by Sherwin-Williams painting the corners. This guy's been painting the bottom part of that strike zone with his split finger. All right, swing and a miss at the split. I'm not sure if that was a split or a slider. Whatever it wasn't a fastball. We know that.
Right.
Is he going to throw a fastball here or try to trick him again?
That one gets by Navarro, and 2 runners in scoring position now. That's a wild pitch.
Boy, he held on to that one a little too tight too. That was about a 57-footer. First base open, doesn't have to throw him a strike. Again, he's been a little intimidated pitching to BJ today, but he just threw one in the dirt.
Threw another one in the dirt. Here comes Pena to tie the game. A walk and a wild pitch. Hudson's at third, and Jason Hayward the hitter.
None of this damage has been on fastballs. None of it.
I think so far he'd look back in this game and say, wait a second here, I have a 95-mile-an-hour plus fastball. I mean, I understand with the base open, but all of a sudden he's gone to some breaking balls. Pena hits the double. The breaking ball's not even close to the zone.
Yeah.
Got a good fastball, but we'll take it.
Thank you.
Now he throws one to Hayward and missed upstairs, ball 1.
Well, he's obviously a little rattled now.
So new life for Tim Hudson. And Pena hits the breaking ball, doubles, and that turns into the Braves' first run. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Especially with the count 1-1, even 1-0 there, and Jason may have done this.
hitters kind of call it ambushing a guy to start a little early. A hard thrower like this, you just maybe set your stance a little more open, but start your swing a little early and just look middle of the plate in. That's where they're coming.
Got it there, but too far inside.
It becomes a guess, but if you're ahead or even in the count before you get to 2 strikes, it becomes kind of an educated guess to try to get an advantage.
He chased 2-2.
And he's chased 2 balls that I'm not sure were strikes. But that's the great deception about that split.
Yeah, guys with a good splitter, everybody will come back to the bench and say, make him bring it up, make him bring it up. And you're like, I'm trying. Such a tough ball to lay off when they keep that split down in the zone.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
Tried it a 3rd time and he laid off.
I'm with you guys. He maybe has thrown 6 fastballs this inning.
Maybe early to Francisco and to Chris Johnson.
Full count. Upton will run from first. Hudson leads at 3rd. And a swing and a miss. Retires the side. It's a dirty dozen strikeouts for Jeff Samardzija, but the Braves get on the board with some help from the Cubs starter. Back-to-back wild pitches score Ramiro Pena, and we're tied at 1. Starting pitching.
Well, Jeff Samardzija seemed to be coasting. Now has registered a career high 12 strikeouts, but he was his own worst enemy last inning as the Braves were able to tie it up. Here's how the Cubs got on top. Double from the leadoff man off the wall in right field, David DeJesus, and scored on a ground out after he had moved to 3rd on a fly ball. That made it 1-0. It stayed that way till just a few minutes ago. 2 out, nobody on. Throws a changeup to Ramiro Pena, the 8-hole hitter. He doubles. He winds up walking Tim Hudson, and 2 wild pitches later, Braves tie it up. So they do it on a 2-out hit, a walk, and some wild pitches.
So Tim has some new life with the top of the Cubs order up. It's DeJesus, Castro, and Rizzo.
Samardzija had a little something going on there with his thumb that the trainer was tending to. Something with his nail.
They do have activity in their bullpen, or did a few moments ago. It's James Russell who was up and throwing earlier. He has since sat down. Samardzija threw 110 pitches in his opening assignment against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Tim Hudson's been at his best the last 6 batters. He set them down in order with 3 strikeouts, so this has got to pump him up a little bit too to get back to even.
A walk and a single, all Tim has allowed since the first inning today. And he didn't get the corner. 3 balls and a strike.
You know what? In the last 2 innings, a lot of his good work has been off his fastball. 90-91. Good 2-seamer here. Fox tracks from Sherwin-Williams showing he did paint that inside corner.
And that's bounced right off the plate. Funny spin. Johnson hung with it. Oh boy. Tricky play and a good play. 1 out.
A lot of spin off the plate.
Yeah, very nice play by Chris Johnson over there at first. Filling in for Freddie Freeman today. Usually you see that kind of spin when a guy hits one off the end of the bat. That was created, I guess, by hitting it off the plate. Kind of ground ball that Chris does not want to see over there at first base. His first day over there.
He's done a good job, you know, playing in the spring training, moving over there. I'm not sure how much he had played prior to spring training, but he looks very comfortable. Big guy, good target over there, good hands.
Castro past Pena. Well, here's your answer on Chris Johnson coming into this season. A grand total of 6 games in the big leagues at first base. He'll pick up that many in the next week, with Freeman going to the disabled list. Castro at first, 1 out. Here's Rizzo. High fly to left. Justin has room, and with the glasses gleaming, puts it away. 2 out.
2 out in time for Georgia Power Energy tip number 6. You can save up to $300 annually by switching from a gas furnace to an energy efficient electric heat pump. If you make the switch before August 31st, you may qualify for up to a $400 rebate.
Well, Hudson's had Soriano's number to this point. He has struck him out swinging twice.
It's been a good contrast in styles today. Veteran pitcher against a young flamethrower.
I just see a difference in the last 3 innings from Tim, and that he's pitching. Every one of his pitches has more conviction. It seems like he's more aggressive. He's got a little more snap on his curveball. He's got a better feel for it.
He's in a nice rhythm. He doesn't appear to be rushing, which is something you pointed out in the first 2 innings.
Yeah, I thought that was a good pickup, Joe. He did appear to be rushing. Something was unsettling to him. Maybe visually it was getting used to Evan Gattis behind the plate.
Could
maybe
be.
You know, something. Seeing a different target, different guy calling the game than he's used to.
And that's something we saw all spring training long with Evan Gattis. Somewhat of an unknown commodity behind the plate as a defensive player. He really opened eyes all spring long with the way he blocks pitches in the dirt, just like that. And that helped keep Castro at first for Soriano with a 2-1 count.
Beauty. Soriano gave up on that early.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. Soriano struck out by Hudson for the 3rd time. Tim's got new life. It's a 1-1 game, and as we head to the last of the 6th, let's see if Justin can one-up the Cubs. And one of the great traditions here at Turner Field on home Sundays is the Hometown Hero program, where a member of our great U.S. military is honored on the field. Today's honoree was Sergeant Caleb Manley out of Zebulon, Georgia. Hometown hero this afternoon. And that's, to me, the best part. Fans who've never seen that man before or servicewoman before, they all shake hands as they make their way up the aisle.
Great thing.
Somehow a little pop from the Braves here in a tie game. And Justin Upton will get things started. Samardzija with 12 strikeouts. He's gotten Upton twice.
It'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. Samardzija. See if he tries to reestablish that fastball.
He did that time. And Justin behind 0-2.
It's interesting. That fastball was 94. And as soon as he got a new baseball back, Samardzija looked up at the radar gun on the left field above the 755 club to see how hard that pitch was, because it's off a little bit from the beginning of the game.
Nothing wrong with that one, though. At 97 over the outside corner. Braves offense being held in check to this point, but it is one worthy of a nickname, we think. And for more on that, let's check in with Elizabeth Morrow.
Chip, thank you. Well, earlier in the week, I sent out a tweet asking for some nicknames for this new hard-hitting Braves lineup. And after the Upton Brothers show, well, they came pouring in. So we wanted to share a few with you. Yickety Yak Pack. I love this. Up the Freeway, the I-70 Drive, Dixie Dynamite. Joe, we thought you would like that one. Fans keep sending me your nicknames at Fox Sports Morrow. We're going to start a poll this week in the studio while you guys are on the beach.
I like that. You know we're going to be on the beach. And I do like Dixie Dynamite, Elizabeth. I want to add one to it. It comes from Jim Isudik over in the Braves PR department. Mashlanta.
Nice.
Welcome to Mashlanta.
2 balls, no strikes to Evan Gattis. He's gotten in on the home run hitting fun. His first big league hit. With his family in attendance.
This could be an interesting pitch here. 2-0. Just touched 97 to the last hitter.
But another off-speed pitch, and he missed with it.
He wanted it too. He thought he threw it for a strike.
But that's what you get sometimes when you throw a 2-0 slider. Is everybody in the ballpark expecting something at least 95, including the umpire.
But Evans got a green light here too.
Yeah, this would be a good one to swing on.
4-pitch walk. All the strikeouts Samardzija has recorded. He's also issued 4 walks now. That's the potential go-ahead run for the Braves. MLB.com at bat delivers Braves baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. It's available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Braves.com for details.
Guys, I know Dan Uggla's not a hit and run man, but they got to hold the runner at first. They got the shift on. What if you send Gattis and ask Dan to put it in play?
He does, but to the shortstop. Gonzalez the turn, and Uggla beats the wrap at first.
With nobody on the right side, you might find yourself in a first and third on a tough day against a tough pitcher with only 1 out. That was the point.
And he did it last night.
Yeah.
Against Fujikawa, that thing of beauty to right field in the 8th inning.
You see on the right side with Rizzo holding the runner, there's nobody over there.
So Samardzija got the ground ball, but Uggla's speed keeps the inning alive for Francisco. Juan has struck out twice. Hot shot, and that got a piece of Castro. Uggla's on his way to third, and Juan Francisco almost decapitated Starlin Castro with that rocket shot.
That thing left, went by the mound with kind of a weird slice on it too. Right back at Samardzija. I don't think that got any leather. I think that got left arm, wrist.
Well, Samardzija already has a couple of wild pitches. One more here. You figure Uggla would be able to score. There's Johnson, the hitter, has one of the hardest hit balls today, albeit for an out. That came in his last at bat in the 5th inning.
Oh, shoot. Good pitch there just to the outside corner to get him ahead. But Chris is a good guy to have up here in this situation with 2 out, because I know he has struck out a lot in the past, but in spring training we saw him behind in the count hit some balls, put him in play off the end of the bat. He might find a hole somewhere.
Good pitch, good stop by Navarro. Now Johnson's got an 0-2 count, and he's gone to the splitter with 2 strikes. Maybe he'll throw one that Navarro can't catch up to.
Pitch number 100 coming up. That's what it was, Chip. A nice block.
Gone slider, splitter, splitter. The challenge here, that off-speed stuff gets into your head so much that now he can throw a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. It's going to look like 100.
Whoa, high and tight. Did that get him? Yes, it did. Johnson hit by a pitch, and Samardzija's going to come and argue.
I heard it hit something.
Samardzija might be thinking it was a foul tip.
Yeah, I think that's what he was arguing.
Well, now they were asking for help to see if Chris Johnson swung at the pitch, and the first base umpire, Mike DeMuro, said no. Definitely a click there. Listen again. You'll hear a little click before it goes in the catcher's glove.
So now Samardzija has the bases loaded for Ramiro Pena. He doubled in the 5th inning. He hit a breaking ball. Let's see what he gets. A fastball, strike one.
You just got to shorten everything up. Shorten your stride. Shorten your stroke. Spread out a little bit. Let your hands do the work.
Couldn't stop himself. 0-2. Tim Hudson's spot is due next, but he's not in the on deck circle. Blake DeWitt, just called up from Gwinnett, is.
And Uggla's got to get a nice walking lead, not being held anywhere close by Valbuena, so anything in the dirt, he might have a chance to score if he throws a split in the dirt.
Sharply hit and throw, base hit. Uggla scores. Francisco's coming home. Throw cut off. For Samardzija today.
Looked so bad on that fastball earlier in the count and able to get that one.
The hit batsman turns into gold for Atlanta, and Samardzija, who is so brilliant, was awfully wild in the last 2 innings, and it's cost him the lead. 3-1 Atlanta, and still batting here in the 6th. place hitter last night. Big hits in this series.
As you watch the replays of this swing, and it was on a 96 fastball, watch how quick he gets that front foot down. By getting his front foot down quickly, it allows his hands to work. Didn't overswing. Remember, he was all over the place earlier in the count. He's got 2 RBIs in each of the last 2 games, backing up Simmons.
And on big fastballs, too.
Well, that's what you got to have off your bench when guys have to take a day or 2 for something and have somebody step in and do something big to help you win. And Romero's done that.
I'm sorry, Joe. That's another area where the Braves feel they have really improved this ball club. They feel that their bench players could start for many major league teams. So there isn't a great drop off when Freddie Gonzalez plays his extra men, either by choice or necessity. And they've come through today as Tim Hudson will bat. Michael Bowden's on to pitch for Chicago. Last 2 innings for Samardzija, 3 walks, 2 wild pitches, and a hit batsman. And it's cost him the lead.
Well, and a lot of that is getting away from what he had early in the game, as you've mentioned a few times, Joe. He got away from his fastball.
And a pop fly foul off the bat of Tim. He'll be behind 0-2.
I mean, he got hurt on the fastball from Romero Pena, but gets into trouble throwing wild pitches and hitting people. And instead of pounding the strike zone as he was early in the game with his fastball. I also, Joe, you mentioned how in that at bat, Romero Pena looked so bad on one pitch. And you just never know. You can look bad on a pitch, and he regrouped. Had a great swing there.
I'm trying to think if there are others, but I think there's only 2 hard hit balls off his fastball. One by Upton on the first pitch of the game and one on by Francisco here this inning. So I don't know if somehow, like last inning, he got it in his head somehow that the Braves were beginning to get timing on the fastball. There weren't any signs of it.
Yeah, he struck out 13 guys.
Yeah. Well, Braves appreciate it.
And now Tim Hudson gets it on the front. He's got a base hit to right. Johnson scores. It's 4-1 Atlanta.
With all due respect to Michael Bowden, and he got a breaking ball up for the pitcher. Thank you very much. Bowden was really good here in game 1 of this series. 2 1/3 innings, no hits, 3 strikeouts. But with all due respect to him, after coming in relief of Samardzija, he's going to look a little softer speed-wise.
So 3 runs in the Atlanta 6th, 4-1 the score in the top of the order. B.J. Upton. And he rolls one back to the mound. That will retire the side. The Braves have given Tim Hudson a 4-1 lead. Ramiro Pena, another big hit for Atlanta as we go to the 7th inning. to you in part by Hyundai, by Blimpie, and by the Georgia Lottery. Great turnaround for the Braves offense. They sent 8 men to the plate in the 6th inning, as Jeff Samardzija was awfully wild in the last 2 frames. And Ramiro Pena, who was fooled badly on an 0-1 pitch, ripped the next 96-mile-an-hour fastball he saw for a 2-run scoring hit.
Just shows you, too, if you put the ball in play, sometimes you can find a hole in key situations. One other note on Ramiro Pena. He was on the Mexican team in the World Baseball Classic and played quite a bit and went 3 for 13 during the WBC for Mexico.
So Tim Hudson has Schierholtz, Navarro, and Valbuena coming up in the Cubs' 7th.
Big inning right here for Tim. Need a shutdown inning.
Tim's retired 9 of the last 10 Cubs hitters he's faced. He's gotten Schierholtz on strikes twice.
Well, that's another good fastball from Tim. Start out Schierholtz here. You mentioned, Joe, he looks about as comfortable as we've seen him in a long time with his fastball.
Yeah. And what a contrast in games. Samardzija can throw the ball 97, got away from his fastball. Hudson doesn't throw 97, is going to it and getting outs. And he just broke Schierholtz's bat. 0-2 the count.
Well, it is an interesting contrast. I think you take a nice young pitcher's arm like a Samardzija, but so many things in baseball are about experience and understanding how to pitch, having good location all the time.
Popped up left side. Juan's going to have a play on this one, and he gets Schierholtz on a pop up, 1 down.
Tim Hudson has a remarkable number to back him up in his career. Speaking of experience, Murph, when given a lead of 3 or more runs, he's 135-3. That's closing the deal big time.
That's pretty good.
And looking for win number 198 in his major league career today. Here's Navarro, the Cubs catcher, 0 for 2. Navarro came over from the Reds and had a big spring for the Cubs. Hit 5 homers and 17 RBIs. He spent a lot of time with the Tampa Bay Rays. He's been with several different major league organizations.
Didn't he come up with the Reds? I want to say, kind of compare him in a way to David DeJesus. Both guys highly touted, big time prospects.
He originally came up with the Yankees.
Okay.
Now here's what's interesting. The Yankees traded Navarro to the Diamondbacks in 2005 with Javier Vasquez, Brad Halsey, and cash for Randy Johnson. As he rolls to the right side, Ugla waits for Johnson to get back to the bag and does. He's also been traded for Sean Green. He's been traded for Mark Hendrickson, and he's been a very good backup catcher in a long major league career.
And a switch hitter too, so that allows managers to mix and match a little bit with him.
You know, getting back to Samardzija and his lack of experience, if you will, or maturity. I'm so impressed with what Mike Minor said the other day, where he used to let things bother him. Now he's getting to that point where not a lot of things are bothering him. I think we could see from the Chris Johnson getting hit, little arguments with the umpire after the Pena hit, Samardzija kind of losing it. And you wonder what was going on inside his brain. Were things starting to bother him even before the damage happened?
Well, he was dominating this game. Nobody was even getting a loud foul off of him. But for whatever reason, he got away from his fastball.
And kept looking up at the radar gun as if to wonder, am I throwing hard enough?
Hitters will tell you that.
Yeah, it's one of the problems with that gun, so visible to pitchers, I think. And that's why the value of the catcher is to say, look, you know, I'm back there. I see what's happening. Regroup. You got a good fastball. Maybe it's not 97 every time, but 94 is pretty good.
97th pitch for Hudson misses, and Valbuena's at first with a 2-out walk. Activity has begun in the Braves bullpen. Delta Airlines, proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves. Can't wait to see our fine friends with Delta Airlines after the ball game. We'll make our way down to Miami, our first road trip of the campaign. Then it's to Washington, home for 2 with the Royals, and then the Iditarod starts.
I don't want to jinx it, but the forecast is pretty good for Washington.
Is
too.
it?
Yeah. Temperature-wise, supposed to be very mild and nice. We can avoid some raindrops. Should be a good weekend.
But we'll be 20 degrees cooler where we sit than on the field. We got to.
Well, provided those clouds don't roll in below us.
There's a strike to Gonzalez. Well, Tim's pitched a gritty game, gave up a first inning run and has allowed nothing else, and hoped that the Braves offense would catch up to Samardzija. They did. And he's reached triple digits on the pitch board.
Look at that, though. Very steady after the first inning, pitch count wise.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
He's gotten the feel for that curveball too. Made some beauties to Soriano.
Little pop behind second. Ugla drops it. Went after it with one hand and dropped it.
Well, even though it was in the sun, obviously, it looked like he had a good beat on it. It looked like he shaded well.
Has his glasses on. He just doinked that one.
And that's going to be the last pitch of the game thrown by Tim Hudson. 102 in total. He ought to be out of the 7th, but the Cubs are threatening now with 2 on and 2 out. And listen to the ovation Tim Hudson gets.
He got a my bad moment from Dan Ugla, who came in after dropping the pop-up. All's forgiven. Good job by Tim Hudson. Chris Johnson hustling in there from first base to give him a little love too. So well done by Tim today after giving up that first inning run.
And well done's a real good way to describe the work of Luis Avilan out of the Braves bullpen.
He has gathered the attention of not just of us and Braves fans, but scouts and teams around baseball with what he's doing, throwing 93, 94 with some good movement, especially the left-hander. Has been mighty tough on him.
So he answers the AT&T call to the bullpen. Clevenger, I believe, was announced for the Cubs. So Scott Hairston will bat for him with 2 on and 2 out. Beware of Hairston. He had 20 home runs last year while with the Mets. And he homered here in the first game of the series.
First pitch from Luis, 95.
So was the second one, and it's the same result. 2 balls, no strikes. Toward third. Francisco's got it, and Ugla is at the second base bag, and that's it for the Cubs in the 7th. Tim Hudson allows a run in 6 2/3 innings. The Braves on their way, leading 4-1. And before we go to break, as is the custom around Major League Baseball on Sunday afternoons, we will enjoy a sterling rendition of God Bless America before a big crowd here at Turner Field.
Of God Bless America, performed by gospel recording artist Micah Stampley.
While the storm clouds gather
far across the sea,
let us swear allegiance to a land that's free.
Let us all be grateful
for a land so fair.
As we raise our voices in a solemn prayer.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the ocean wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. Marta Jacks, I don't care if we ever come back. so it's root for the Bravos. If they don't win, it's a shame, 'cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Go Braves!
Well, as one who ought to know, just another terrible 7th inning stretch singer. Dennis Miller in town, obviously, for the Braves-Cubs ball game this afternoon and the Final Four here in Atlanta.
Did a fine job.
Jason Hayward was hit by a pitch. Second Brave to be plunked today. Chris Johnson the first.
Had a good idea to try to put a bunt down against the shift, but got plunked on the knee. Got hit in the foot last night.
This is Hector Rondon. Or not Nora if you want. Saw him earlier in the series. Was originally a Cleveland Indian. The Cubs got him in the Rule 5 draft. So they'll try to keep him on their roster all year, or else may have to go back to Cleveland. 4-1 Atlanta. We're in the 7th inning. The Braves try to sweep the Cubs in a series for the first time here since 2005, and the first time overall since 2006. They're doing it to a Cubs team that gave the Braves some trouble last year. Justin Upton skies one foul, a quick strike to him.
They won the season series.
Yeah, 4-2. I think it was 4-2.
And I agree with you, Joe. Good idea by Jason to show bunt. Leading off an inning. Got a 3-run lead late in the game. Get something going with that shift on. All you got to do is get it down.
Jason might have been hit by that pickoff throw at first. He's a little slow getting up. All year long, Braves baseball on Fox Sports South is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. No balls, 2 strikes.
Nothing I like better than to see some team go through all their sabermetric gyrations with shifts, overplays, and then have the pitcher walk a guy or hit somebody.
Can't defend any of that stuff, can you? Way high, 1 ball, 2 strikes. We've got the Marlins tomorrow night. The Marlins are winning in New York today. They sent Jose Fernandez to the mound today. He's the youngest pitcher in the history of the Marlins franchise. Remember, he made the club when they had 2 injuries at the end of spring training. He might be in line to win today if the Marlins can hold off New York. And the other amazing stat about the Marlins coming into play today. Question they had, who would protect Giancarlo Stanton in their lineup? After 5 games, Stanton had 0 RBIs.
I'm sure part of the, without getting ahead of ourselves, but part of the pre-series scouting report the Braves do on the Marlins is don't let that guy beat you.
Yeah.
Well, we had him on our World Baseball Classic team, and I'll tell you one thing. He didn't quite have his swing then either in spring training. He had just probably a week before had been hit in the head. Remember when he got hit in the head in it was actually some kind of a early game, a young AA pitcher trying to figure out why he was even in that game.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, his batting practice is pretty impressive. When he gets it going, it is going.
Speaking of going, that fastball was going. Good pitch from Rondon. He takes care of Upton. And Justin strikes out for the 4th time today. 3 of those came against Samardzija, who had a big day for the Cubs. 13 strikeouts, but he's on the short end of the score right now. Here's Gaddis, 7-0 for 2 with a walk. Washington's losing today. That was Strasburg versus Cueto in Cincinnati. The Reds lead 6-3 in the 7th at Great American Ballpark.
Reds are very good.
If these scores hold, the Braves will be in first place all by themselves going into action tomorrow. Both the Braves and Nats started play today at 4-1.
Good pitch to run on here. Jason looks like he wants to run. They pitched out here, and chances of a double pitch out aren't too good.
It's about as hard a cut as we've seen Gaddis take at a pitch. Got something he liked, just swung right through it.
Has anybody ever hit a ball into the seats above the flags in a game? To your memory, Joe?
Not that I recall. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but I don't remember one.
My early pick would be this guy to be able to do it. If he really caught one.
You know, Sosa hit one off the batter's eye in straightaway center. And I want to say McGuire, if not Sosa, hit one in the club level next to the pennants, but not over the pennants. And those seats to the left of the stadium club.
1 ball, 1 strike for Gaddis. You had said that Juan Francisco hit a ball during batting practice into the second deck and right, correct?
Yeah, right in the corner. As far over toward the bullpen as you can go. Right there.
Evan was fooled. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, we're still waiting for the Simpsonville sign to be put up there by the clock on the second deck. Liner down the left field line. That's in the seats, foul.
I don't think that's quite as good a breaking ball as the one he threw him that he swung and missed at, but he made a nice adjustment on it. Kept his hands back a little better. It was a little better pitch to hit.
And you mentioned this about him, Joe, the other night. Good hitters are able to keep that bat in the strike zone. That was obviously a pitch that he was fooled on a little bit, but did you see how long that bat stayed in the zone?
Jason's running, swing and a miss. The throw to second is going to be in time. Oh, the tag was on the backside of Jason Hayward. He's 6'5". He thought he had the bag when the tag was applied. He may have. It's a strike him out, throw him out, inning-ending double play in the 7th.
Oh my.
That's not a very happy man.
No, and it's understandable as well as he pitched for 5 innings. Good stuff, though, for the Braves coming back after trailing 1-0. Samardzija mowing them down. Able to catch up thanks to him with some wild pitches in the 5th inning and some clutch hitting by Ramiro Pena again. Helped put him over the top.
Avilan will face Dave Sapelt. Sapelt, I beg your pardon. He bats for De Jesus in the 8th inning. Then Castro, then Rizzo. Avilan continues on in relief for the Braves.
Wow. How about that? 95 last inning. Was that the top end?
I think so, yeah.
95 and an 82-mile-an-hour change up there. That's pretty sweet.
One reason why the Braves bullpen has been so good in the early going this year is their first batter faced efficiency. Avilan, with some trouble in the Cubs 7th, came on and took care of Hairston. The Braves relief pitchers have retired 15 of their first 18 opposing hitters in relief.
That's huge.
And the reason that's so important is more often than not, relief pitchers are coming in with runners on base or in run scoring situations for the other ball club. You get that first out, it either ends an inning or really puts 2-out pressure on the opposing ball club.
It's like Corey Guerin last night, inheriting bases loaded with a shallow pop up and a strikeout.
Sapelt drives that to deep center. Upton going back. Look at BJ range. Like Andrew Jones, he plays a very shallow center field, but just glides to the baseball.
Yeah, it never looks like there's any kind of concern that he's going to get to the ball.
I think that's just good instincts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like Andrew Jones, you're right, Chip. Can play a shallow center field, which is, you know, something you always want to remind your infielders. Guys, most of the hits are going to be in front of you. Play as shallow as you possibly can. If it's hit over your head, it's going to be a mistake. Someone made a mistake, but if you have that kind of speed that BJ has, boy, he just goes after him like there's never a doubt he's going to get to it. You know, we've talked about the velocity of Avilan and the movement. So often, though, you don't see that dramatic of movement when it's in mid-90s. And as you mentioned, that's what's got everybody talking. Not only the velocity, but Talon. I remember the opening night, or I guess it was opening night, to a few of the Phillies. Ryan Howard. It was just like, those balls are.
Yeah, and going down and into him, which is where he likes it, and he couldn't catch up.
One ball, one strike for Starlin Castro. Well, just a little outside.
Just a little.
A lot of trash being talked in the truck about the trivia question today.
I have some nominees in my head that I wrote down.
I forgot the question so long ago.
About the highest batting average against the Braves.
Yeah.
But Soriano's like 14th. Who's first?
I keep hoping we'll get just name one of the 13 ahead of him.
Yeah. I wrote down Todd Helton.
Yeah.
Matt Holliday, Albert Pujols, and Miguel Cabrera. I thought those were 4 good nominees because I couldn't think of anybody else.
Ryan Howard kills the ball here. I don't know about the batting average. Deep short. Oh, Pena couldn't get that. It stayed down on him. And Starlin Castro has his second hit of the game. Now we're entering the middle of the Cubs batting order.
What was Soriano's average? Was he 8? 312? Okay. I'm going to go with Miguel Cabrera, hoping that he had enough plate appearances while he was with Florida.
Did you say Pujols on that list?
Yes.
Too? Okay, Pujols. Let me think about this.
Holiday.
Yeah.
Hilton. All guys that have high career averages, period.
I'm just trying to think of guys that had big hits against the Braves. Jason Worth seemed to have a ton of them when he was with the Phillies. Yes, Rizzo rolls foul at first. Then the more at bats you get, then the average you figure is going to drop a little lower. So Joey Votto, Ryan Braun, Ramos Ramirez.
We're going to have to end this here.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to.
I'm going with Joey Votto.
Go with Votto.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have the definitive answer. That means we're almost always wrong. We're already 0-5 this year. So who are you going to say, Joe?
I'm Miguel Cabrera.
Cabrera, Votto. I'm going to go Aramis Ramirez. At least we know he didn't play in 1931. We got that going for us. Fouled by Rizzo. So let's see if we got it right. Highest career active average is.
Way to go, Chip.
We're on the board.
As Dontrell Willis said to Juan Pierre, we're rich.
By the way, Ramirez is hurt for Milwaukee. They play the Cubs on opening day in Chicago tomorrow. He's got a bad knee. However, victory is ours.
Hallelujah. We're off the schneid.
What do we get? That's what I want to know.
A tougher trivia question tomorrow.
That's it?
That's it.
Attaboy?
No, no. And see, even us talking about getting the trivia question right for Gretchen Caney constitutes gloating. Which means an even tougher trivia question.
That was a tough one in itself because there were actually a few choices. I'm proud of you.
I think like Clint Eastwood when his platoon had to go find out from the dry cleaner what color shirts he had laid out. I think I might have a method to the madness. Swing and a miss by Rizzo. That's that sinking pitch to left-hand hitters that's been impossible for them to hit from Avilan.
Well, Anthony Rizzo fouled off some tough pitches, but that right there is Avilan's making a name for himself. Unhittable velocity and movement. That is a tough pitch. You know you got something going on when a major league hitter misses the ball by that much.
Fouled away by Soriano. This will be our last look at the Cubs until September.
Won't it be interesting in September to see what differences there are in both of these clubs?
Yeah.
I'm going to venture a guess that the Braves have fewer changes than Chicago.
And one of them could be Soriano, who's got another year on his deal after this season. Line drive into center field for a clean hit. Rumor had it last year that when the Giants were fishing around before they got Hunter Pence, they called the Cubs and tried to make a deal for Soriano, but he had no trade rights, and he said, no, I'm not going to play for the Giants. So he's still with Chicago.
I don't get that one.
Yeah. He's got me shaking my head too.
Chance to play on a postseason team that ultimately went the distance.
So let's not forget the game situation now. 2 on, 2 out, and Shearholtz represents the tying run for Chicago.
You know, the Braves turned the tide on Chicago last night in the 8th inning. Only to win it in the 9th.
A roller foul. Braves bullpen was busy a moment ago. Still is. Jordan Walden and Corey Guerin are up and throwing in the 8th. And now Guerin, we understand, has sat down, so it's just Walden.
Took a little bit off his fastball there to make sure he had good location. Looked like he wanted to move him back off the plate with that one. Now he can either double up, come back in with one around 94, 95, or throw a breaking ball. Either way he wants to go.
It was the breaking ball, and he didn't get the corner.
Wow. Derwin Williams painting the corners. Did he get the corner? No. Good call by Alfonso Marquez on Fox Tracks.
Right off of his knuckles.
Need some good pitches, as Dale pointed out. Rizzo fouled off some good pitches. Sherholtz does here. Sherholtz picked up an RBI in game 1. Was it game 1 or last night? Last night on a ball kind of down and in from Tehran.
They've gone inside with the last 2 pitches, and Avilan just missed the outside corner 3 pitches ago. What's he got in mind with a 2-2 count again to the Cubs right fielder?
With that kind of movement, I don't like seeing going back to that breaking ball, giving him something that he can handle a little bit. I like staying in, even though typically you don't want to stay inside too long. But with that movement, I wouldn't be afraid to come back in. That would be the 3rd time in a row.
I'm with you.
They are going in, and it's bounced right back to the mound. Avilan pitches an effective 8th. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left for Chicago. 4-1 Atlanta.
Coors Light freeze cam, and you talk about a game of inches. How about these two big hits for the Braves? 2-run single here, just out of the reach of Gonzalez. That drove in 2, and then Tim Hudson drove in another one, just out of the reach of Gonzalez. All that taking place in the 6th inning when the Braves rallied to take the lead. That was the Coors Light freeze cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, my beer.
2 changes for the Cubs. Dave Sampold stays in the game to play center. And new pitcher on the mound for Chicago is Hisanori Takahashi.
A strikeout per inning pitch for Takahashi, who I think normally is a kind of a left-handed specialist, getting left-handed hitters out.
We first saw him with the Mets. He came over from the Yomiuri Giants for the 2010 season. Won 10 games with the Mets that year. Then moved on to the Dodgers. Pitched all of 2011 in Los Angeles. Last year with the Dodgers and the Pirates. Now is a Cub as Dan Uggla greets him with a deep fly ball to center that's going to leave the yard. Second of the year makes it a 5-1 game.
Well, another good swing by Dan, obviously, but you know, Joe, I just like he didn't try to do too much. Didn't try to hit it 400 feet down and wrap it around the pole. Hit it where it was pitched. Good swing again by Dan Uggla. Really proud of himself, as you mentioned, Joe, last night about that ball he hit through the right field side, beating the shift. Sometimes you feel as good about that as you do about the home run.
He did today when I was talking to him about it, mentioned it to him.
Boy, the Braves battering this Cubs bullpen. Takahashi today. They got Marmol and Fujikawa in game 2. And are 3 outs away from sweeping the Cubs and wrapping up a very exciting 5-1 opening homestand to the season. With yesterday's struggles, Carlos Marmol has lost his job as the Cubs closer. He's out. Will work in setup. That was in the news and notes for the Cubs before the game today. As Juan Francisco rolls to second, Dale Swaim told both Marmol and Fujikawa their roles are switching.
Let's go back to Dan's swing, and Dale, I want to show something here with a telestrator if we can. Literally at the point of contact, as close as we can get to it. Remember last year when we would show this picture, how his upper body was really leaning back, and it led to an uppercut, you know, where his bad angle was more like that. Look at the level swing here on that one, and how firm that front side is, head down. All that work he's getting in with Greg Walker and Scott Fletcher really paying off. Hands inside the baseball a little better, and a much more level swing.
Yeah, through the point of contact. Very, very good observation. It's to Dan, as soon as you see those shoulders dropping, usually spells trouble.
Chris Johnson back to the mound. And that's the second out of the Braves' 8th. Again, another home run is going to draw a lot of attention. That, of course, from Dan Uggla. But the man coming up might be the Braves' hitting hero today. Ramiro Pena doubled and scored the game's first run for Atlanta, and then had the big 2-run scoring hit that eventually chased Jeff Samardzija today. So Pena 2 for 3 again today. And it's hoped that tomorrow night down in Miami, Andrelton Simmons will be good to go for game 1 against the Marlins.
Nice luxury to have a guy step in, though, and contribute like Ramiro has done the last 2 nights, and you can see him hit right-handed here.
Nothing in 2.
Base case scenario, you saw Freddie Freeman in the dugout with his pal Dan Uggla. 15-day disabled list would make him eligible to come back on that Iditarod trip, Chip, just in time for Coors Field.
It'll be all about that, and the Braves hoping that'll be the case. Atlanta adds an 8th inning run on a solo shot from Dan Uggla. In fact, the last 3 homers hit by the Braves have been to dead central. They are taking aim in the National League so far and look to sweep away the Cubs with 3 more outs to get in the 9th inning. Is brought to you in part by Georgia Power, by Toyota, and by AT&T. 5-1 as we get set for the 9th inning. As we've mentioned a couple of times, the Braves hit the road after the game today. We head to Miami tomorrow night. Then a weekend series with the Washington Nationals. Then a very brief homestand for the Braves. The Kansas City Royals come to town. The Royals, a up-and-coming club in the American League Central. Chance for Jeff Francoeur to come back to Atlanta. You can save big with Coca-Cola 2 for $30 Tuesdays as the Braves play Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. Then we hit the road again. In fact, the Braves will start a stretch of 16 of their next 18 April games away from Turner Field. And so with a 4-run lead in the 9th inning, not a save situation, but a tune-up chance for Jordan Walden. He's the second reliever to answer the AT&T call to the bullpen. Bottom part of the order up for the Cubs. It starts with Deanna Navarro.
Third game for Jordan. 2 innings, 3 hits and a run. 1 strikeout, no walks. I have to recreate or reconstruct that inning in which he gave up the run. It seems to me it's kind of a weird situation that cost him a run. wild pitch factored in there too. Part of it his own making.
He blows away Navarro. One away in the 9th inning. Big crowd today in Atlanta. 45,800. And for the 3-game series, the Braves and Cubs drew over 117,000 fans.
Isn't that awesome? What a great weekend here in Atlanta. And those 45,800 people on a nice spring day, 73 at game time. If they did get warm in the sunshine today, there have been 25 strikeouts to kind of cool everybody off.
Good point. Luis Valbuena is 0 for 2 with a walk.
Maybe a couple more coming up this inning as well. We've already had one. That's a good point, Joe. A little breezy.
And Paul Mahalam will get ready for the Braves for tomorrow night. Kevin Slowey will pitch for the Marlins. The Cubs go home with Edwin Jackson getting the home debut for Chicago tomorrow. Great catch. And Valbuena an 0-2 count. Reds have beaten Washington. And Steven Strasburg, we presume. So if the Braves can get 2 more outs, they'll have first place to themselves at the start of play tomorrow night in Eastern Division action. Well, Strasburg versus Cueto up in Cincinnati, where the home run balls were flying in that series.
One more thought on the fans in this homestand, Chip. I was given a number 211,000 plus for the homestand. 6 games. That's an average of over 35 plus per date. But you think about the weather Wednesday and Thursday and how bad it was.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, that's great turnout.
High fly ball down the right field line. That's out of play. Another factor too, it's spring break for many families in this part of the country. Here in Georgia, a lot of folks are probably out of town, maybe making their way back this weekend. But we hope a lot of big crowds will greet us on Tuesday the 16th for Kansas City. It's a night game, then a 12:10 start on Wednesday. 2 strikeouts for Walden in the 9th. Well, a lot of great things to talk about after this one on Braves Live. Jerome and Brian will be standing by with Freddie Gonzalez's press conference, clubhouse interviews, and all of the highlights. A real pitcher's duel midway through until Jeff Samardzija got real wild and the Braves took advantage of it. And it's strike after strike from Walden today.
Line on Strasburg, 5 1/3, 9 hits, 6 runs, 4 walks. Struck out 5, no home run. Took the L.
But we're going to see him in Washington, one would think.
Thought for a minute his name was Lee Strasburg, the famous acting coach, but the L stood for something else, apparently.
1-1 count. Pop back our way, and the Braves are now a strike away.
Evan Gattis has looked good today behind the plate, catching Hudson and the bullpen. And very solid back there.
Guess the best compliment, like an umpire, you don't even know he's there.
Yeah, that's right. I thought that was going to be a real interesting thing to watch, and it looked pretty seamless, him working with Huddy.
And the Braves have swept the Cubs as Jordan Walden strikes out the side in the 9th inning. Win number 198 in the career of Tim Hudson. The Braves beat Jeff Samardzija and sweep the Cubs for the first time since 2006. 5-1 the final, 5-1 the Braves record on this opening homestand, and we'll talk more about that right after this.